What is up, Cowboys Nation? Your boy Mike Tag here. Got Jimmy Dee. Had a nice little weekend. We're gonna get things rolling. I didn't do an intro yet, so I kind of gave you a preview of the James Washington intro. We got that interview coming up on Thursday, but it's Super Bowl. The Super Bowl starters. I figured what better to show James Washington slapping them Bills around a little bit, causing turnovers and stuff. It always makes a Cowboy fan feel a little bit better. So we're going to get this thing rolling. Make sure you guys hit that like, subscribe, share if you're new to the channel. Like I said, we had Tony Hill last week. Get past the first 5 minutes of just some technical issues with my man Tony Hill. Some of us are challenged with some of this technology, but once we got to the meat of it, he was he brought the fire, brought the passion, things that I'd love to see from a Cowboys next season. But we're going to probably get the same. I mean, James Washington's nickname was Drive-By. So he's definitely old school. He's definitely old school.
That's when you can say stuff like that, right?
Yeah. So that's the way it is. So, Jimmy, how was your weekend and what you up to, man?
Well, first off, I'll tell you one thing. What's up, Doug, Chris, Ultra?
He's already ragging on you. I just looked and you're wearing the Yankee gear.
Thing is, I agree with him. But that, this weekend was great, but this weekend got even better. And I'll show you why right now, right? So, yes, I'm wearing my gear, Ultra, but I'm going to be rolling here a little bit, representing.
I like it.
Right? Doing a little representing because look what my man, Masterpiece, I got from Cuts by Jones. I love it. So, you guys check it out. Magnificent work, Cuts by Jones. And even got tonight no coffee cup. I got the koozie.
You got the koozie. You got it. Someone stole my koozie at the tailgate. I don't have a koozie. But
so I'm gonna be hanging this up.
Nameplate. I got the nameplate right over there, right behind me. It's prominent in the cave. This is the mini cave, right? This is a mini cave.
Yes.
So we're getting it rolling. But that looks beautiful, Jimmy.
It doesn't. It's awesome. So
I don't like
hanging
the color. I would have liked blue and white. I'm just going to be honest. My man Cut could have just sent him one blue and white, just for your boy. But no, it's definitely good. So. How is before we get started with the games, we got a lot to talk about. We want to get your guys' input because there was some things going on. Then we're going to get to the coaching carousel. Jimmy, I don't know how you're feeling about your coach. I definitely want to get your opinion on that one. But first, you have a good weekend, everything.
Yeah, no, it was a good weekend. And yeah, we're going to, tonight, I'm representing the Yankees, obviously. It's still hockey and basketball season. I got my Knicks and Rangers. But pitchers and catchers report in a few weeks. So
yeah,
there's that.
Now that's where Jimmy's going to be the one carrying the show because your boy here is just I'm lost in baseball. I don't have the knowledge I used to have as a kid. So, but let's get to it, Jimmy.
All right,
we'll start with the Chiefs. They handled the Ravens. The thing about I'll say Uncle Cheech. He'll be on. I forgot to send him the link. Let me do that while we're talking.
Boy.
I always do that. But the Chiefs handled the Ravens. Uncle Cheech said, hey, he took the Ravens. A lot of people with their hearts took the Chiefs. A lot of people with their hearts wanted the Ravens. But, I mean, Mahomes, you got to give the man some credit. He's gotten to the Super Bowl 4 out of 5 years. I would have bet the farm there's no way he gets a Super Bowl with this team he had this year.
No, you know what? I tell you, I in my heart and just rationally thought that the Ravens would win. Give Mahomes his due. You're right. I mean, he's a generational quarterback. Nobody can doubt that. But I look at the Ravens yesterday and say, first of all, undisciplined penalties, a lot of stupid penalties after the play, which cost them some yards.
Was that the Cowboys dressed up in Ravens gear?
Yeah, exactly. So, and then you had, which bothered me the most. I know several people commented on this on social media. So Zay Flowers gets nailed on a taunting call. Meanwhile, Kelsey and that sideshow, that freak show that's going on every week that we got to see, he's going after every catch. I don't care if it's a 2-yard catch and tackle. He's carrying on, going crazy. No taunting for him. So obvious double standard. But, I'll say it. Lamar Jackson didn't get into a rhythm yesterday. And, hey, there was some people, and I hate to pour salt on open wounds, but we're saying, is Lamar Jackson kind of like Dak Prescott? When it comes to the playoffs?
Here's what I'd say is he needs to get the same heat and the same treatment that Dak Prescott gets because now, the knock on Lamar's in the playoffs. He's 2-4.
Exactly.
Did not play very well at all. I mean, he just looked you just I don't know, confused or what made the Chiefs defense look like, pretty which they're a good defense, but
Not
he
that good.
definitely he helped him out. He helped him out.
Yeah, he did. And again, he helped him out. Bad penalties helped out Kansas City. And bad penalties on the Ravens helped out Kansas City. But there was two easy pass interference calls late in the game that would have gotten the Ravens down in touchdown in the red zone. And even the second one, the announcer said, and we all thought, oh, it's an interference. They didn't even didn't even talk about it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Every week there's something new with the officials.
It's all posturing,
It's all posturing.
Jimmy?
Right, it's all postured, exactly. So, but I don't know, man. Every week is something with the refs, but excluding all that, like you said, Lamar not getting a new rhythm, having a bad game, missing some easy open passes. And you're right, they got to hold him to the same standard they hold Dak. If that's
Don't lose the intensity. It's very important. Don't lose the intensity. Yeah, I put a tweet out and I said my heart's telling me the Ravens, Lions, but the wallet, I we might have a caller. My wallet, I listened to Uncle Cheech. He said you got to go Chiefs and 49ers, and we'll get into the 49ers game, but I don't know. It's just I was disappointed in the showing, and I will say on Zay Flowers, I'll just say I know he fumbled right in the end zone, like right before going to the end. That dude was the offense, and he played his ass off. That taunting call, to your point, that was ridiculous. I mean, how do you call that in a championship game, a game of emotions? You got to let some of that stuff slide, unless they're hitting each other, unless they're doing something very, very flagrant. I think you gotta hold back a little bit. You gotta let the players decide the game. Now, I'm not gonna say that cost them or anything like that, but I'm just saying is the referee's mindset is you gotta let these guys, you gotta give them a little bit of room. I mean, this game, it's going to the Super Bowl. They're gonna be amped up, but Lamar Jackson, to your point, just another disappointing ending, for him in the playoffs. And you got to start questioning and wondering, give him the same critique that you're giving Dak for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And, at the end of the day, I mean, he signed a big contract. He's not going anywhere, but how much room do you give him? Right. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll see what happens.
With Doug's point is when you get ahead of him and make him a passer, there's definitely some issues there. So let's, this one, it kind of was decided the whole way. Then we get into the afternoon game. And I just got to tell you, I'm in the mini cave. I painted. I don't know if you guys noticed. I didn't like the way blue was looking, that baby blue was looking. I know, Jimmy, you picked out the color. You said, this is what I want. When I come there, this is the room I want. So I only did it on the spot you could see. So I went ahead and did that. So I'm watching the afternoon game, and there it is with the Lions. And man, they jumped on them early. They were beating them down. I was thinking of Cameo. I'm like, oh my God. I said, my heart was feeling for him, but I got to admit, I did not want the San Francisco to win. I'm just going to be honest. I'm happy for our man Cameo, but I didn't want it. And then you saw the tide turn, and we'll get into some of the questionable things, but did you watch a lot of that? Were you able to catch that game? And what was your thoughts, as you're seeing this first half unfold and the Lions are doing whatever the hell they want to them?
Well, you know what? First of all, I'm glad that Camel Piper wasn't at my house yesterday, because I think in that first half, it might have been a little suicidal at that point. Last week he came over. He's the kind of guy, he likes to just be in his own house. He doesn't want anybody around. He wants to watch the game. But last Saturday, I talked him into it. And I think he was regretting it up until the end. But yeah, that was no joke. And at halftime, I almost turned it off at halftime, But to Ultra's point, Lions pulled a Falcons, right? Shanahan on the flip side of it this time. And in the second half, you can see Detroit was scared. You seen the look in their eyes, drop passes and
the thing with the coach, I mean, we all talk about it. And I said it in the Cowboys game. I said, I was at the game. They went for the 2-point conversion. All right, gutsy call, whatever. But I'm thinking to myself, geez, I mean, they have an opportunity for the number 2 seed if they beat Dallas. Then they get the crap that happened, and I was there, so I know they were trying to run some shenanigans, and they got kind of caught doing it. So they get an opportunity, and back them up. They get an opportunity to kick the extra point, go to overtime. He goes, no, I'm going to do it again. And then We stop him. We get a penalty, moves him up. He gets another opportunity to say, "No, let's get." They had all the momentum in the game. I was there. They had the momentum in the game, and then he goes, "No, we're going to do it again." And I said, "This is what's going to cost this team. You cannot coach with emotions. You can't coach everything with emotions. You got to have either someone in your ear or someone pulling you back and say, 'Hey, dude, we got to think some common sense stuff here.'" And when I saw them going for it, passing up field goals and doing this where they could have made it a 3-score game, and it changes everything. It changes the way the 49ers have to attack. It changes the way you can do the defense. I hate to say they got what they deserved, but I mean, they got what they deserved.
No, they did. And you know what? Like we said, I mean, Detroit, I couldn't believe how quickly they jumped up, and I thought that game was over. But then, hey, again, they didn't kick a field goal in the first half that could have got them. Then in the second half, Detroit, they went on. Twice. It was twice where they could have kicked a field goal, which would have made the difference at the end, at least tied it, right? And then, like you said, they went for it on third and 18, they got a first down, Detroit. Then like 3rd and 12, then like another 3rd and long. You were in field goal range. What are you doing? Kick the field goal. It's not a time to be emotional. You know what? I just looked and said, Campbell, what a dummy.
Yeah. And this is the kind of loss that you just wonder how they recover. I mean, this team has waited 30 years to get into, they had a last championship game. You talk about Dallas and we're like, oh man, we haven't had success. I mean, they've had 0 playoff success, 0. They won their first NFC division title, NFC Central or whatever. It was Essential. Now it's the North, in 30 years. I mean, this team was starved for it, and they had it right in the grasp. They had everything where they wanted, and just some bad, they had a couple drops. I know Ultra put in there with Reynolds. Yeah, that was a bad drop, but still, take all that stuff away. You gotta play smart, and it's, it was unfortunate, but it made Uncle Cheech, 2-0. I don't know if we bring Uncle Cheech in and get his opinion on these games, Jimmy? What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I always love to talk to my Uncle Cheech.
Well, I mean, when I said I played with my wallet, I was listening to Uncle Cheech, and this man was 2-0. He brought, it's odd. You know what? You could go 500, you do under 500, but when it matters most, when it's nut cutting time, and now's your opportunity to really make some scuttle, the Uncle Cheech came through, and this 2-0 in these games. You understand what I just said? 2-0. I know a guy. He's like a whale down in the Hard Rock. He's getting free rooms and this and that. He already told me he put 5 large on each game. You understand what I just said? Each game. He texted me. He said, "Hey, Mike Tag, you come down to the Hard Rock. You got a weekend on me." So I appreciate Uncle Cheech. You're good to our listeners, and the listeners give the love back. So how you feeling, Uncle Cheech?
Not so good.
Oh, what happened?
I let $30 slip out of my hands because of Detroit.
Oh, that's right. You had Detroit going to the Super Bowl.
At the beginning of the year, they'd be in the Super Bowl.
Yes.
But other than that, I told you don't pick against Patrick Mahomes in the big games. Beat him outright. I don't care the guy fumbled before he got in the end zone. It's not. Their defense played well. They ran the ball just good enough. Patrick Mahomes, no turnovers.
No.
He's my man every time. I didn't pick my Super Bowl yet, but
no, we got to let that marinate.
Moving in that direction a little bit for the same reason.
But you know what? My man is Uncle Cheech because he's my financial advisor. He's earned me plenty of generational wealth, and I appreciate everything he does. And look at those big shot whales down in South Florida getting advice from Uncle Cheech, making big money, getting them free hotel rooms.
Yeah, they legalized gambling in Florida. What?
I might meet you guys down there.
Hey, he gave me a room. I'd give it up to you if you go down there. Legalizing sports betting in Florida at the nick of time. Let me just say. Now we got a man he's like a kingpin down at the Hard Rock. When he walks in, it parts like the Red Sea. The man gets ultra respect, red carpet treatment. He's getting the rooms. He's eating at the finest restaurants. What is that? What's that steak place? They got a table waiting for him, reserved. This man's such a high roller.
Hey, Uncle Cheech, all of a sudden gambling's legal everywhere. Why was it when Italian businessmen were allowing and helping people satisfy that guilty pleasure and offering really good loans with, maybe a little bit high interest, but they're facilitating it. Why was it a problem then, but it's not a problem now?
They try to put honest people out of business.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's no, I agree. So you got the. What was your thoughts on Detroit? Because you had 30 large at stake, and you're seeing Dan Campbell questionable, but he's done it all year. So I mean, do you hate him for it? Do you say, "Hey, man"?
I don't. And I'm going to tell you what. I'm looking more at their offensive coordinator. What troubled me more, they ran the ball first half for 142 yards. First half, pounding the ball. Second half, they come out. They ran the ball 8 times. Why do you quit doing what was working for you?
Yeah. No, good point. Excellent point. Yeah. What do you think about that, Jimmy?
Well, I mean, the play calling was stupid, but the one thing, we'll talk about with Uncle Cheech, nobody wants to give Brock Purdy his due. I mean, he did what he had to do in the second half, man. I'm sorry. He first of all,
he played well, but it would have kept. He was just discussing before how many drop passes there were by the Lions in the second half. Run the ball. You're not going to win unless you run the ball. And they were effective the whole first half.
I tried to tell the Cowboys that. They didn't
15-yard gains all day, all half. And they took a commanding lead. And if you got the 7 points on top of that, you were in the driver's seat. I almost had my calling up for my plane reservations to go out to Las Vegas to get my money because I had to have my friend Sally place the bet for me because it wasn't legal here.
Yeah.
So I was going to go out there, and me and Maria, they wanted to charge me 2 seats for Maria. So I was going to have to leave her home. But
yeah, I've had that happen, and they should have to charge for 2 seats like that because it's you're on a long flight. That's uncomfortable. I got to stand by that decision they made.
Yeah, they told me, hey, she takes up 2 seats, so you ain't going to charge her double. I said,
well, cool, Uncle Cheech. Well, do you have any other nuggets? Is there anything that we should be looking for in this Super Bowl? You don't have to. I don't want the pick because I want to let it marinate a little bit. Let me get everything going, and next week we give that pick. But I mean, what are your keys? What are you thinking, and what are you seeing
today? The spread is 1 point, so it's even game.
Wow.
So they both were running well. Second half, San Francisco was running the ball very effectively. The Chiefs they ran pretty effectively. They played good defense too. I told you, in my mind right now, today, I think it's going to come down to the quarterback play.
Yeah.
And I'm not giving you a pick yet, but I'm kind of leaning in that direction. Who'd you want for your quarterback with the game on the line?
Yeah, no, I mean he's going to be hard to bet against. Now, if this line stays the same, Mahomes would be an underdog. He would be an underdog in 3 straight games, right? 3 straight games. That's surprising. But I had said that, I mean, what they've done, if he goes on to win the Super Bowl this year with the team that he had, with the lack of weapons that he had around him, I mean, it's got to say something for him, a stamp on his career and legacy for sure.
Well, that one guy, I forgot his name, kept dropping the balls all the time. He made one hell of a catch down there.
Oh, the one at the end? Yeah.
He don't give up on his players, so they don't feel like he's not going to throw it to me.
Yeah.
Keeps them confident. He's just a great quarterback, period. The best.
No, and that's the thing. It's him and everyone else. I mean, he can do what he just did, getting his team to the Super Bowl with the weapons that he had. Ain't no other quarterback in the NFL going to do that. You need to have a supporting cast, whether it be Josh Allen, whether it been Lamar, whether it been Dak. I mean, these quarterbacks can't carry their team. That's just they can't. Mahomes is the only one in my opinion. Maybe Burrow, but shoot, I don't even know if he can the way I see things.
No, but when they in the same league as Mahomes,
and when they mix Pacheco, I mean, he's a hell of a running back. You know what? That's he's good. The run. We always said, Mike, the run sets up the pass and all that, right?
Yes, so absolutely.
Oh yeah, that's like you're talking with your Cowboys. You got to. I mean, I saw today you were talking to what's his name, Derrick Henry.
Yeah,
That's what I read today. I mean,
yeah.
it wouldn't be a bad move. Somebody that can pound the ball.
That's what they need.
Uh,
That's what they. I mean, that's what they. I mean, he's a little. He's getting up there, so you just hope you don't get him if he hits the wall. I would
oh,
be. I would be all for Barkley if they wanted to get a veteran in there. But you're gonna have some running backs. There's gonna be some free agent running backs. I think they draft a running back too. But I would want to get a known commodity that I could trust. And then if you get a rookie guy that he ends up shining, great. But I want to go in to the season next year. So we'll talk, more football and the Cowboys and the coaching changes. But I've got to have some hope going into next season. They got to sell me something, and it can't be all in with the all back. You have got to make some changes if you're Dallas to give these fans.
You get a formidable running game.
Yeah,
you should definitely contend with your defense.
Yeah.
You got to have that running game to get you over the hump. Got to have it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Hey, Ultra, you're all the ones pounding your chest at Aikman that Jimmy didn't get that Super Bowl 30. Aikman won the Super Bowl 30, so I don't know. Brady won without Belichick, so I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm just saying. I don't know if that's true. So anyway, Uncle Cheech, we appreciate it. We'll see you next week. Super Bowl is going to be, it's good. I like Super Bowls. I don't want to say it's going to be miserable, but it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a good matchup. You got the teams. I mean, you can't argue San Francisco's been the top team all year. It's Kansas City, as always with Mahomes, you expect them to be right there. But they go in there. So I think it's going to be a good matchup. So
I'm looking forward to it.
All right,
guys.
Grazie.
We'll see you, Uncle Cheech.
A presto. Il migliore. Piace molto. You know what?
I know. I don't know what you said, but I like it. So getting into the Super Bowl.
Well, wait.
Into the Super Bowl. Go ahead.
I just want to take a step back to yesterday about Brock Purdy. Again, I'm a shill for the guy, right? I've been hyping this guy up for since last season. Look, he had his first half was horrendous. I think some of it was Shanahan play calling. And I think in the second half, look, man, there was multiple times he should have been sacked. And he broke free, had 3 long runs, kept some drives alive. There was, of course, the one, crazy-ass catch by Ayuk. But the rest of them was good passes and keeping the plays alive. And you got to give him his due. Mr. Irrelevant did what he had to do yesterday.
Yep. No. No, I mean, hey, that was to come back from that kind of deficit in a big game like that. You want to talk about pressure. You want to talk about panic. You want to talk about everything that kind of goes with it. You got to give Purdy his due. I owe Malik Rozier a steak dinner. We had Dak and Purdy. I think Dak had a great year. I mean, you can't argue it as from a regular season standpoint. I mean, he had an MVP type season statistically. But all that matters is the playoffs. I mean, and we've always said that. You got to perform in the playoffs. Purdy performed in the playoffs when they needed him. He was there. Obviously, he's got a great supporting cast. But, the quarterback touches the ball every snap on offense. So that's why they get most of the credit and they get most of the blame, right, wrong, or indifferent. But that's just how they're always going to be judged. And, Purdy has an opportunity. People forget the 49ers haven't won a Super Bowl since 1995, January 95. We won in 96. So they always talk about the 49ers like they've won these Super Bowl. It's been a year longer than us. They're in this drought. So I got to root for the Chiefs because I don't want to hear all the 49ers are so mean to me. They just talk bad about me, my family, talk bad about Jimmy. They talk bad about Kelly, the whole crew that I can't see him winning.
For my boy Camel Piper and for the common good of this country, because of that sideshow circus going on with Kansas City, I got to root for the 49ers. And that's all there is to it. Hey, man's best friend, dog trainer, where you at? Where you said you're north of Albany.
Oh, he said Albany.
Oh, no. Okay. All right. I'm about an hour and a half south of you. Yeah. So, so, the matchup, I mean, what are you thinking? as far as
I gotta let
you're
it
not
soak
here.
in. I
Okay.
gotta let it soak in. It's very hard to go against Mahomes. I think San Francisco presents some problems for the Chiefs, but I just the San Francisco defense I thought was so solid. And then when I watched Detroit just absolutely just go through them, and you can argue Green Bay they outplayed him for 58 minutes. And, so I'm seeing these offenses kind of go through the defense. And now you got Mahomes going in there. And I'm like, well, that could be some trouble for you. So it's going to be, I got to let it soak in a little bit. I'm usually an NFC guy, but as I've gotten more I'm doing a podcast and going to games and being more visible in social media. I can't have some NFC teams win because then I got to hear shit all year, and I just don't want to do it.
You know what? I typically root for the NFC, and unless it's the Eagles. But the Eagles, I'm not rooting for them, and I never will. No Philadelphia team I'll ever root for them. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm agreeing with Ultra on this. I see San Francisco winning, but hey, after what I saw this weekend when Detroit jumping out so hard.
Yeah, I'm not gonna bet against them, but I mean, we'll see what happens. I think I forgot. Did I forget to do? Let me see if
Schenectady, man's best friend, Schenectady. Yeah, I'm about an hour and a half for you, hour and a half south. I'm down by Beacon, around there.
Let me see about that. I guess I didn't. Yeah. So we'll go back to the original. See, I hate when I do work and I don't follow through. So what we're going to talk about is coaching changes. So there's a lot of coaching changes going on. I want to get your take. A lot of head coaching changes, and Dan Quinn was kind of the guy that was a hot commodity until obviously that Green Bay game kind of changed that tune a little bit. And I don't know if he's going to get a job. So he's probably, if he doesn't get a job, he's going to come back to Dallas. You're going to have the same coaches. A lot of changes in Philly. Philly got rid of their offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. They went ahead and brought in old Cowboy Kellen Moore. They used to laugh at all the time. So now I'm curious to get the Eagles' perspective on that. I'm sure they're going to change their tune. They bring in old Vic, who always seemed to have Dak's number, right, as a defensive coordinator. He said he had the formula for Dallas, and Denver. He was there when they beat us, and obviously last year in Miami. So a lot of changes. The one that I really want to get into is with the Falcons. I mean, there was a lot of talk with Belichick, a lot of stuff going on. You bring back, I should say, Raheem Morris was there as a coordinator. Wasn't he like a fill-in coach?
Yes, he was interim coach.
Coach.
Yes.
Terrible time in Tampa. I mean, but I mean, they had some bad teams. So, I mean, does this get you pumped up, or does this get you a little? You're an offensive team, like you got some offensive weapons. You're bringing in a guy that's not really offensive. So, I mean, what's the story with Atlanta?
And I'm gonna put up Ultra's comment for a reason. Detroit has weapons. St. Brown, Williams, Laporta gives them. You know what? I wanted their offensive coordinator Ben Johnson.
Yeah,
put him with us. Get us a quarterback, and that would have been a perfect setup. An offensive-minded guy. Raheem Morris. We just shook our head. Belichick. I didn't care if we got him or not. I wasn't overly thrilled about him. With him, I heard there was something with him and our CEO Rich McKay. McKay was with Tampa years and years ago, and he's been with the Falcons for 20 years. I guess they butt heads, and there might have been some behind-the-scenes stuff that they couldn't work out. But I didn't care much about Belichick, but I was kind of shocked because we did interview Johnson, and I guess it didn't work out. And Raheem Morris was kind of a shocker, and it was kind of like a dud, kind of like on 4th of July when you're lighting off the fireworks and nothing happened. Yeah.
It kind of was a little taken out of left field a little bit, and I was trying to look at some of the coaching changes. Did you know who else? You got Zach Robinson as your coordinator. I saw that was a good hire. He was with who was he with the Rams?
Yes.
Yeah. So he comes from a good tree. You got to kind of like that. Obviously, it's weird. You had so many different changes and then guys moving around. My man Dan Morgan from the U. Now he's kind of going in as the football operations and president at Carolina. Obviously, he had a great career in Carolina. So they hired the offensive coordinator from the Bucs, right? Dave, who's his name? Canales? Is that how you say it right?
Canales, yeah.
Yeah. And then you had, the Bears made some moves with their coordinators. trying to go through oh, I like this. I didn't even see this one. The Browns, they got Ken Dorsey from the U as their offensive coordinator. Dorsey, people don't know, he actually played in Cleveland. He was one of like the 50 quarterbacks that they've had in the 10-year period. So he's going back there. I'm trying to see if there's Antonio Pierce. They did the right thing there. Obviously, Jim Harbaugh. We could talk about that. Gerard Mayo, that was kind of a surprise hire, but he was kind of groomed to be Belichick's successor. He played there. Great,
Yeah.
had a really good career.
That wasn't a surprise. You know, what bothers me is some of the retreads. Raheem Morris, no disrespect. Look, I'm rooting for my team. Hopefully everything goes great. Hopefully I'm wrong. But, new blood, man. Get somebody new in that head coaching spot. We hired so many guys who never previously had a head coaching spot. And again, it is what it is.
Does anyone know, maybe I've been out of the loop, has Washington hired a coach yet? Did they finalize a coach?
I don't think so. Not that I know.
I think, who is it? Them in Seattle. So the interesting thing is with Dallas, right? So Dallas, you're like, man, we got to get, at the end of the game, hey, everyone, we need heads on a stick. I mean, we want to parade them through the yard up into AT&T Stadium. And I'll say this, Dan Campbell is not, imagine Dan Campbell was the coach of the Cowboys and made those coaching decisions. I don't know if he'd be alive today. I'm just going to be honest. I'm not advocating any violence. I think that's terrible. But I mean, I think he's probably lucky he was in Detroit, because I think he was at any other major, team. Oh, heads would be rolling. But the Cowboys, you get McCarthy. You think, all right, you get your head coach back. It doesn't upset me. I don't think McCarthy is the fall guy. I think there's a cultural difference with the Cowboys that they need to address more. But now you're talking about, Dan Quinn, probably going to bring him back. They said if he were to get a coaching job, they're looking at our guy from Washington, Ron Rivera, as defensive coordinator. Maybe a new, maybe some fresh blood in there. I was listening to Law Nation today. Give him some credit. He was saying that a lot of the Cowboys that, some people are saying a lot of the Cowboys on the defense aren't all in with Dan Quinn. A lot of them felt they weren't being utilized the way they should have, So I don't know if the love fest is gone for Dan Quinn, but what I don't like that the Cowboys are doing is just waiting, and all these coordinators and everything else is getting hired. So I don't know how it's going to play out. More than likely, Quinn's going to be back in Dallas, and you're just going to kind of run it back, and that doesn't excite too many Cowboy fans. That's for damn sure. And again, it's just going to really depend on what they do in the offseason for them. But what's your thoughts on that carousel?
No, you know what? The one thing I wanted to say for getting back to Dan Campbell, I mean, obviously some stupid play calls yesterday. He should have taken point. But I'm looking at Detroit itself. Think about it. The first season, he won 3 games. Last season, they were like 1-5 or 1-6, and then had a great run at the end of this year. Then this year, obviously made it to the championship game. Look at that. A team that instead of canning a guy in the second season, trusted the process and let things happen. And that's something you don't see much anymore. These guys, they're firing guys in the second season if they're not doing, seeing results. Man, like you said, you got to build a culture. It needs to be a culture build. You got to get the players in. Look at Carolina. They canned their coach. He was there 6 games or 7 games.
Yeah. No.
So I give a little credit to Detroit for trusting the process.
No, I agree. And it's a great question. Any chance the Cowboys have any interest in bringing in an OC play caller? No. And I'll say this. I mean, offense, they had the top offense in the NFL. They got better and better under Mike McCarthy's system. Dak Prescott had his best year when everyone said, oh, Kellen Moore's gone. Dak Prescott's, here comes, he's going to hit the shitter. What I do think they need is maybe, run game coordinator, something with the running game, because that wasn't working. And that wasn't working all year. I don't know if my thought, it's a lot of personnel, but maybe get someone in there to help support the running game more and maybe have more eyes on that. But I'm okay with McCarthy being the offensive coordinator. I don't really necessarily think the whole thing was on him. The defense really, unfortunately, just played their worst football at the worst time. And Dak Prescott in the playoffs did not play very well. And he's got to own that. And a lot of people put that on the, they want to put it on the coordinator, but hey, I saw those passes he was throwing. I saw the look in his eyes. I saw the way he was playing. I'm not going to put that on the coach, man. You got to own that. And Dak Prescott's got to own it. And it is what it is. And it's like Troy Aikman said, and it's going to be hard. If this team runs it back and they have the same, and they're not getting any excitement for this team, it's like, okay, they're 1-0. Okay, they won. I mean, I'm going to try and get guys hyped. I'm going to do my job. It's going to be very hard next year if they don't do anything, because you guys are going to be like, shut up. I want to see this in the playoffs, because I'll be honest, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking the same thing. It's like they have to do something to get some juice in here. Culture, to me, is the biggest thing, and I've done videos on it. They've got the glamour guys, right? They've got the guys. They need.
Give me somebody that's hungry.
This is what they need.
They don't understand nothing else. They're not out about glamour.
No.
They're not out about the women and girls.
No women and girls.
Give me somebody that's hungry.
We need hungry players. That's what Eugene was talking about.
Oh, he's the best. He's the best.
I mean, it's funny that, the way he said it, of course, is great, but they've got all the glam. They've got that. They got CD, they got Parsons, they got Dak, they got all these. They need to bring in free agents that all they want to do is crack some heads, and they want to win. They come from a winning culture, so I'd be looking for that. And I'd be looking for guys that are not worried about the limelight. That's the problem with Dallas, and you can blame Jerry or you can blame whatever you want. But when you come to Dallas, everyone's got a podcast, but everyone knows Micah Parsons' podcast, right? Yeah. Everyone's got all this stuff. Everyone's on TV, and it's hard because you get sucked into that. I always use the analogy. I mean, Jimmy, you and I are Rocky fans. It's like Clubber Lang, man, and it was Rocky, right? Rocky, he was in the hotel, and he couldn't get back to the gym, and
over in Europe,
in the basement working out, and you saw what happened, man. When it came time to fight, man, Clubber Lang, he had Rocky had nothing for him.
Rocky didn't have that look in his eyes. The eye of the tiger, man.
Yeah.
You know what? Speaking of it, now look at the Ultra. First, you're ripping on the Yankees. Well, okay, you're ripping on Aaron Boone, which we all agree with that. But Cowboys fans, what do you think of that comment?
Look, here's the deal. I've seen it, and Ultra. I love Ultra. He does things for reaction. I love it because it helps the show get some conversation. Dallas Cowboys, with the team they have now, still going to be in the playoffs. You understand what I just said? They're still going to be in the playoffs. They were the number 2 seed. They're still a top talented team. 7 teams. You understand that? 7 teams go to the playoffs. They had a 9-8 team or 9 and whatever team. They're going to make the playoffs, barring catastrophic injury, barring anything like that. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to be in the run for the NFC East. Now, there hasn't been a repeat winner in 20-something years. I know that's a big joke, so I'm not going to say they're going to win the East. But I think what this Dallas Cowboys team needs, and I know people are going to rip me for it, some might, I want them to be the 6th or 7th seed. I want them to fight at the end of the season to be in the playoffs. The last 4 games are do or die. That's the mental toughness that this team needs to get. And to get, they don't need to cruise and be the 2nd team. I want this team fighting. I want this team to have their backs up against the wall. That's what they need, but that's just my opinion. But I can't see them not making the playoffs.
Well, to that, I'm going to get back to what was it Cole? Was it before Cole?
About the offensive coordinator?
About the offensive coordinator, yeah. So, you know what? No, again, it was a bad game. It was the worst time you can have it happen on both offense and defense, right? So you can't really, go after an offensive coordinator. You don't need it. Besides the running game, which was questionable. I mean, look what Dak Prescott did all season until the playoff game, right? You can't argue with that. So I don't think he needs an offensive coordinator. And I love Dan Quinn. I wish he was still in Atlanta. So I don't think he needs to make
hire him. Why didn't you hire him?
Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, but then a little retread, you know what I mean? So, but at least he was smart enough to not have an offensive coordinator, man. That was important. You need that.
And I would say to Ultra, I don't know, him and Edgar kind of talking and the thing, and I don't know where he's going with it, but I would say with this Cowboys team, the problem that they're having, I am starving too, man. I need it. Is they don't have that guy. They don't, we're gonna have James Washington on. I'm gonna talk about 2-time Super Bowl champion. He was that guy. They don't have that guy that is a vocal leader like a Michael Irvin was, a Charles Haley, James Washington. And they don't have to be the stars. I mean, James Washington wasn't an all-pro player, but, I mean, he got the nickname drive-by for a reason. I mean, he led and he would, he punished players. and he was just one of those guys. We don't have that. We don't have, like, you don't see Dak Prescott getting in a guy's face like Troy Aikman did. You don't have CeeDee Lamb demanding on the sideline. And I'm not saying have all the antics. I mean, Michael Irvin was one of a kind, but Michael Irvin demanded that from his players, from his teammates. He demanded perfection. He demanded excellence. Charles Haley demanded it from the players, but also the organization. I mean, people remember when they didn't sign Emmitt Smith, he wasn't a holdout. They didn't sign him. Charles Haley threw a helmet through a wall right in front of Jerry Jones and said, "You better get his ass in here." For lack of, in paraphrase. Right. They don't have that guy. And I don't know if it's generational, but I see the Chiefs and they got some dogs. I see the 49ers, they got some dogs. I see the Ravens had some dogs. I mean, I don't see that intensity like that from the Cowboys team on a consistent basis. The closest one I would say would be Tank. That would be the closest one, but you don't really see a lot of guys, with that mentality.
Parsons, I think he's got it, You don't think Micah Parsons has that intensity?
No, I don't think so.
Really?
I don't see him on the sidelines doing it. I don't.
Okay.
Now, maybe,
Gotcha.
Again, I'm not on the sidelines. What the hell? I'm not in the locker room. I heard people talking about this. I'm not there. Everyone tells you, I think Ultra, locker room doesn't respect Dak Prescott. Well, hell, you ain't there. How the hell do you know? I'm not there. I mean, I don't know. I think they do. I mean, everything I see, I think they do. But I don't think he commands perfection. I don't think he commands I don't think he commands that. That may not, that's not, you just can't turn that on and off like some radio. You don't understand that, Jimmy. You can't do that. It's got to be in you. It's got to be something. You're that kind of leader. You're that kind of person. And I don't know if we have that on your team. And like I said, it doesn't have to be the best players. When you and I played organized sports, we played in high school, we played different. Sometimes your best players were your leaders. Sometimes it was, your biggest stars. Sometimes it's just not them. And you have a second tier guy that can be your leader and kind of be that, and the teams respect them. So they've got to get that, and they can sign guys. There's going to be some free agents, linebackers. I mean, Tampa's got got David. There's guys out there that when you see them, they bring championship experience, but they also bring that kind of dog mentality and leadership. That's what, that's, if I'm the Cowboys organization, that's all I'm looking for this all season. I got the stars, man. I got the glam. I need some dogs.
I'll tell you, it's funny that Ultra brings it up because this is, it's often that we talk about something here and the next day or 2 days later, I'm seeing it.
I'm afraid to say anything.
Yeah, right, exactly. So, I saw something about this during the week last week. And then something else we talked about last Monday was on ESPN or some crap like that.
Obviously, there's people listening. There's people
exactly.
They're subscribed, so that you got to support that, and you guys.
We appreciate that. Thank you very much. But Ultra, I would take that. You know what? And I love Pitts, but at the end of the day, we need a quarterback. I think Dak would fit in just well in Atlanta. Less pressure. We talked about that the last couple of weeks. I'd be all about that.
Yeah. And I've been on record with it. I've said, look, here's the deal. To me, there's no guaranteed positions. I mean, I am like, every job is up. Every position is up for grabs. That would be my mentality. That would be if I was a coach, that's what I would be telling my players. And it's like, hey, there's nobody safe. There's no sacred positions here. And that competition makes teams better. So if Dallas were to do something like that, I would be okay as long as they got a plan. I'm not going back to the days, the 10-year period, whatever it was, where we're shuffling these scrubs in and out of there. And I'm trying to believe that we actually could win a game with Ryan Leaf and Clint Sterner and Anthony Wright and all these guys they were shuffling through the Cowboys. I don't want to go through that, but what I will say is the quarterbacks in college, they're coming out a lot more prepared than years past.
Yeah.
The learning curve for these quarterbacks is a hell of a lot faster than it used to be.
Well, it's funny because you talk about in the NFL that there's no real, there shouldn't be a safe position. You need to earn it and all that. Think about it, man. This ain't like baseball where it's, these guys get cut. Right?
Yeah.
They might get their signing bonus and all that, but there ain't guaranteed money like baseball. So to your point, that's the way it should be going in to training camp. You know what? Every position is up for grabs. And it is what it is.
They've got to change something, and it really has to start with Jerry, and this really goes for every team. Culture is so important, but with the Cowboys, they're so polarizing. They're on TV. Everyone wants to talk. So you almost have to build a cocoon or shield, bubble, whatever the word is that you got to build around you. And that's where they need some of these guys that aren't really worried about doing all that kind of stuff. They want to win championships. They're well respected in the locker room. They come in with that, with the pedigree, Super Bowl champion, whatever it is, college, national champion, whatever it is. But that's what they need. They need some dogs. I mean, Cowboys got the talent. I would say the same thing with Atlanta. Atlanta's got some talent. I mean, their quarterback obviously is a problem, but they're in a position, like I said, with these college quarterbacks, they might be able to grab one.
Yeah, and you know what? If we grab one that way, we do free agency. I don't really think there's any big free agents out there, but with a trade, I'll take whatever, But now's the time for us to win.
Yeah,
right. I don't want to screw around. We had a really good defense last year, and again, we're one quarterback away from easily winning the NFC South. One quarterback away. It would have been that easy. And to your point about culture, as long as you got a culture like Vince McMahon was running in WWE, you'd be good to go. We'll talk about that later.
Oh, did he get some more trouble?
Yes.
We'll
talk about that later.
Yeah, I missed that part of it. But yeah, and it is surprising that Dallas, they have not drafted a quarterback in the first round since Aikman, I think. I mean, they were going. Now here's this. Thank God they didn't. Here's the two quarterbacks they were begging and pleading to go get was Johnny Manziel and the guy that Denver got. Who is the scrub that Denver went up and got? Come on, help me in the chat. Who's the guy? The real tall guy. He played at Denver and then he bounced around. The Cowboys were going to trade. They tried to get him, and Denver jumped in front of him and ended up getting him. He was on the. There you go, Paxton. Yeah, Paxton Lynch.
Lynch.
Cover of Sports Illustrated. He was going to be and he ended up being an absolute scrub. I shouldn't say that. He just didn't make it in the NFL.
He didn't make it in the NFL. Exactly.
Yeah, if you're at that level, you're a hell of a lot better than 99% of the people in this world, but at that position. But yeah, so maybe they shouldn't draft them because those are the two that they were going to get. Thank God that didn't happen. Where the hell would we be? So, but
it's it's going to be an interesting. I mean, we haven't even hit the Super Bowl yet. We're already talking about the offseason, unfortunately for both of us. But that's the thing, man. Look at the offseason's already happening for all but two teams because of all the the coaching moves and all this other stuff. So the thing is with the Cowboys, do you if Quinn does go elsewhere, do you have anybody on defense going with him? I mean, Micah Parsons has said more than once.
But he's under contract. I mean, and I don't know how great. You hear all that stuff. Parsons came out, and his brother, Kelly's been talking about him trying. He wanted to come on the show, so maybe he'll come on and say his piece. But his brother says what he says. He's defending his brother or whatever. But Parsons came out. He wants to be in Dallas. I mean, Parsons knows. I mean, his best opportunity for whatever he wants is in Dallas. I mean, he's under contract for 2 more years. They could franchise him another year. So that's 3 years. I mean, at the end of the day, if Dallas wants him, he's not going anywhere. And I don't think he wants to go anywhere. So I don't buy all of that. I think there's some free agent guys that, you know how that goes. There's going to be some guys that go, but whoever you bring in is going to be bringing in his. I think, my own opinion, I'm not an expert. If it were me and I'm looking at, and I want to build around Parsons, I'm running a 3-4 and I've got Parsons on the outside. And if Sam Williams can get his crap together, I'd have him at the other linebacker spot. I would go free agency, go ahead and get yourself some linebackers to fill that void in the middle. And then I would, you got Tank, who's kind of turning into more of that. He could be that the guy on the edge in the 3. You'd have to get some big dude like Siragusa, go find one of those. I know they got Hankins, but I don't know if he would play the 3-4 that well. I think he gets to get some big stout guy and then get another guy. And I think you got Fowler, that if he came back, you got Fowler you could always use on the edge. But I would go to a 3-4 because the thing I would say with Parsons and Cowboys Can Fan, another great podcast and channel on YouTube. He posted it, and I'll give him the credit. I don't know if he got it from somewhere or he brought it out, but I mean, it's been talked about with Parsons. It looks like he wears down at the end of the season. He starts out really hot, and I mean he's not your prototypical edge rusher. He's not as big as some of these guys. So maybe that's true, maybe it's not. I don't know, but that's something that needs to be considered, to where everyone compares him to LT. Well, LT was in 3-4, playing that linebacker position like that. Now I know. I mean, look at the success that DeMarcus Ware had in the 3-4 in Dallas, those years with Parcells. That's me. I would be looking at that if you want to build around, Micah Parsons, and he's your guy. But that's just my thoughts.
Yeah, but you look at what Edgar's saying. I mean, look at Greenlaw. I mean, that guy, you talk about hungry, that guy's hungry. That guy's all over the place.
Oh,
you can tell he wants it, right?
That's
and he's hella
That's what they need. That's exact. Those linebackers right there, that's what they need. That's the kind of linebackers they need. That's the kind of players they need sprinkled on this team.
No, it's true. And we got one of our linebackers, Nate Lamon. Nobody heard of him, right?
Yeah.
He is, and you watched every game. Even the announcers say, "Man, this guy's all about it. He's all in it." And he he's hungry. Like Eugene says, he wants it. And you can see, guys who've got that, that look in their eyes, right? And
give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry.
I need somebody. I love that. That's like
I need somebody.
I need somebody.
Right, like Steve would say, right. I mean, Banks and LT. I mean, that's old school, right?
Old school. Yes. Old school. Yeah,
and that's what you need.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man. What else we got here? Duo, Banks and LT. Over Sean.
Yeah, I mean, Overshown, I mean, he's out. I mean, I'm not going to bank my future on a guy coming off an injury, so I would still be looking for depth there at linebacker. I mean, you saw what happened with the Cowboys and their linebacker depth wasn't much. I think Overshown shown some, he showed a spark in preseason of what he's capable of. I didn't watch him in Texas, so I'll defer to I think Ultra is a Texas guy or maybe just a big college football guy, but I'll defer that, he was hyping him up a lot. So we'll say he's there, but again, coming off an ACL or coming off, it wasn't an ACL. Yeah. So I still think Dallas, I want veterans. Like, see, that's the thing with Dallas. It's draft. All right, draft this guy. He's going to be the guy. And if he isn't, we're screwed. I need some known commodities. It's just like with running back. Yes, draft a running back. I'm all for that. But give me a veteran that I can count on, that I know has done it in the NFL and that can get there. And if the rookie comes in and becomes the stud and becomes the shining star, then have at it. But I'm sick and tired. You understand that, of drafting, and we live and die about the draft. The draft this year, not so hot. Mozzie obviously didn't play up to what you would think a top pick, but he's in a tough position. I get that. Schoonmaker, waste of a pick. Now, maybe he'll be better a few years down the road. I don't have a few years. You understand that? I don't have all this time. I need to win now. I need them to bring in some guys. That's what we talk about all in. I need them to bring in some guys, do the work, get the right free agents in here, then draft, and the draft is gravy, man. It's gravy. If they end up drafting some dudes a stud, that's great. But I'm not going to – just like Tolbert. Tolbert, maybe he's going to be better each year, but they draft Tolbert, they get rid of Cooper, and it's like, all right, Tolbert, you're the man. Go ahead. Yeah. And how you put that on a rookie you don't even know coming out of college? It's just, I need some known commodities. If you want to get your boy hyped up for the season, you got to show – the Cowboys got to show me something that they're serious. This is serious business. They were embarrassed with Green Bay. That was humiliating. Worst loss in Cowboys history. You understand that? Worst loss in Cowboys history. I'll stand by it because of everything that it meant, everything that it could have been. It was humiliating. I felt bad for Doug. I still got that shirt in the bag. I don't know what to do with it. I paid for it because I told him to buy me that shirt, but I don't know what to do with that shirt. I don't know. Do I give it away to a Packer fan? Do I hang it on the wall as a reminder? But I'm stuck with this shirt that Doug got me, and I do appreciate it, Doug. I'm just having a little moment. But now I got to look at it every day as a reminder of the ass whooping that we took.
No, you know what you got to say. Do remember that, because everybody's going to owe you an engraved apology.
That's true. That's true.
You know what? But there is no tomorrow. There is no next season. But to your point, look at last year, and again, if we had an offense, we easily win the South, right? Our defense was stout. Our defense was good. We picked up Calais Campbell. That was a home run pick, right? And even after Grady Jarrett got hurt, Campbell was still taking care of his business, veteran leadership, and just a leader on the field.
Yeah. And Doug, what did you do with your shirt? I got to know. Do you keep it? Did you keep it? You throw it in the drawer? Do you use it to wash your car? I don't know what to do with the shirt. It's a nice shirt. It's actually a beautiful. I was so pumped up for the shirt. I was excited about it, and yeah, I was. That was
tough.
bad. It just brings back bad memories, Jimmy. You know how that
It's
is.
a tough call.
It brings back bad memories, but yeah. So yeah, and you got to look at the league, and everything that's happened in this league. It's built to turn over. You see the playoff teams turn over. That's why I say the Falcons are poised. I mean, look at the division they're in. The division is
Still wide open.
definitely open for the taking, right? It's you have the talent, and then you go get Raheem Morris, and it's like, it's like us. It's like, all right, well,
crickets. It was crickets,
Yeah.
Mike.
There.
Sorry, you beat me.
Yeah,
to
there you go.
Yeah.
I honestly, I have a friend of mine whose brother, he's a Cowboys fan. His brother is a Packers fan. And I'm like, I said, would your brother fit in an XL? I said, I got one, man. I'll give it to you. I'm probably just going to give it to him. I hate to waste it because I just can never wear that shirt because it's a reminder of pain. And that
Bad
might
memories.
be good. I was thinking about putting it up. I was almost going to hang it up behind here as a reminder for fans every time they get, well, yeah, I love what they're, we don't need to make any changes. Then I'm just going to point, say, hey, look at that. Look at that. You read that shirt. Look at the teams. Remember what happened on that day. Now you come back and you tell me that you're satisfied with the status quo.
Then you're going to give them PTSD all the time, man. You don't want that. You know what I'm saying? So, no, you know what? You bring it out as needed. As needed is when you bring it out.
Yeah, that might be good. We bring it out.
8-8. But, Raheem Morris, like I said, it was crickets, man. Again, he was with the team. There's an interim coach, defensive coordinator. Whatever. But again, get us a quarterback and we'll see what happens. And that's it.
I like these comments. Packers, Rams, and Lions. Lions and Rams. Did we beat the hell out of the Rams? All of a sudden, they're better than us. All this hype. We heard all this hype about the Rams. Oh, the Rams are a dangerous team. They're going to playoff. Good Lord, they're going to be. And they're bound. Get the hell out of here with that garbage. We beat the Lions. Lions blew a lead. They're going to be out there soul searching the rest of this offseason. The Packers, lightning in a bottle. I'll say it one more time. Lightning in a bottle.
What are you bringing up?
Thinking just the way they're expected.
What do you bring up that minor league 4 out in LA?
I know. Hey, I mean, these guys are comical. It's not these guys. Ultra's comical. I know he does it to rile me up and get me juiced up and get the blood flowing. That's good. It's good for the heart, good for the soul. But
Kareem, we like who you are too.
What?
No, I said Kareem. I said we like who you are too. We appreciate you listening.
And look, I like Kareem. He brings it. Look at the Broncos. They beat the Packers. That's what I'm saying is everyone overreacts to everything.
We beat the Packers.
I know. I'm not going to overreact. I'm not going to get all crazy and say all of a sudden Dallas is going to win 3 games next year. That ain't going to happen. Barring any injuries, ain't going to happen. What matters for the Cowboys is the playoffs. That's all that matters. It matters for them. Everything they do, they could go 16-0, 17 now with the extra game, 17-0, and everyone's going to say, well, let's just wait. And that's the sad part is what the Cowboys did is they've given the Stephen A's, they've given all the world their opportunity because that's what they're going to say. They're just going to say, all right, well, let's see what happens. Anytime we do good, let's just wait. Anytime we play the Ravens, we beat the Ravens, let's just wait. We beat the Falcons in Atlanta. We're going to be hanging out. We'll be tailgating. It's going to be a great time. We're going to say, just wait. That's the way it is. That's what the Cowboys got to deal with.
We're going to take care of our business. I can't wait for that game. It's going to be a great time. You said Stephen A. Did you bring up Stephen A?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is funny. My wife, she was watching on the DVR General Hospital. Stephen A. Smith is on General Hospital.
No.
Yeah, I did a double take. I'm like
years ago?
No, like a couple days ago, last week. Like, I guess he makes cameo appearances as some tough guy or something like that. And
A
I just
tough
turn around,
guy?
I'm like this, I used some different words, but I said, this guy's on here, and yeah, I had to do a double take, and it's him. And I looked it up. I'm like, yeah. So yeah, he plays some tough guy role on there on a cameo. So I laughed. Like,
I wouldn't have thought that. I thought
Yeah.
maybe he played himself and he was kind of doing like a character or something like that. But
no.
yeah,
So,
I
but
didn't even know those stories were still around.
oh yeah. But I guess there's only like a few of them. So everybody's on like one or two of them.
What's
like
the
all
one? Is Days of Our Lives still there, or is it?
I don't
Know
know.
them anymore.
General
One Life to
Hospital.
Live, General
One
Hospital.
was it? Yeah, it was like Sands in the Hourglass or something like that.
You know what
So,
I got on YouTube, and we get off set, but I got on YouTube and I watched Lamont, Damon Wilson.
oh, Jamon Wilson. Yeah. Oh,
Excellent,
yes.
excellent interview. He was ripping this dude for not being prepared. Like, it was funny because I was laughing because this guy's like asking him questions, and he would ask him the same question like 10 minutes later, and he goes, "You listening to me? Were you prepared for this?" It was just funny. But I did not realize, like, the Norman Lear, he was like the big
Yes,
guy.
the best, man.
Yeah, the best. He stole a lot from these guys, these writers, these comedy writers back then. There's a whole
Really?
big thing I watched on it. Yeah, they ended up, the guy who created What's Happening, it was about Cooley High. And they ended up getting this guy out of his credits. He
Yeah.
wasn't on the credits, so he got no money out of it. Yeah, it was pretty good. Like, I love the old shows in the 70s and
too.
80s. It's just great comedy, and it was pretty interesting.
He also got a lot of things from England. There
Who
was
was
some,
who was Arnold on Different Strokes?
wasn't he who? No,
That
that was Lamont. That was Lamont Sanford.
not Lamar. Yeah, he's talking about what was his name? The little guy. What's his name?
Oh,
Gary
Gary Coleman. Yeah,
Yeah,
Gary
yeah,
Coleman.
yeah,
He ended up being like a security guard or something like that. Cuts.
Now that's a good one right there. Fred Sanford and Archie Bunker. I mean, those
Yes. Or George Jefferson.
George Jefferson. And they talked about George Jefferson and how they were going to do that whole thing, man. It's those are good shows, but if you go back, that's a cool thing with YouTube. They get these videos, and I got sucked in watching them on a Saturday, and it was just, man, it was amazing. Some of the stories and listening to these guys, it was but it shows like back in the day in TV, you had a lot of these comedy writers. They didn't have agents. It would be like me or you just writing some stuff, and we show it to a guy. He's like, "Oh man, that's great." And you're like, "All right, well, let's write some up." And then they go to their lawyers. The next thing you know, they take your whole idea.
Right.
It's like when Clarence, the Fifth Beatle.
Yes.
Right? When he was with the Fifth Beatle, and John and Paul took all his good ideas and got him out of the band. And next thing you know, they're the Beatles. And Clarence is, I think he was working at a car wash.
What a dummy. That's what they're saying about him. No, but you know what? Stephen A. Smith, Cream and Wheat. Yeah, but that's the thing,
Big
man.
Shirley. Remember Big Shirley too? Yeah.
Yes, damn.
Those are great.
Now we're going old school. I can watch that.
Yeah.
And to your point about YouTube, you get on that, man, you go down rabbit holes, and you're on there with all of it.
Because then it knows the topics, right? And then you get on the side, you get all the other shows that align with it.
And speaking of, I can't. It's hard to talk about this here on this PG-13 show. You got to look up some of the details about Vince McMahon and what happened with him and John Laurinaitis, who's one of his right-hand men. He basically stepped down because I don't know if you know, they merged with TKO, who runs what is
UFC?
UFC, yeah. So basically, McMahon stepped down over the weekend because there was some issues with a woman that he was lending her out to people, and he was crapping on her head, literally. You need to look at it. I can't really talk about it here. Yes. So when you talked about earlier about the shitter, when you talked about the shitter earlier, when Uncle Cheech was on, first thing I thought of. And by the way, speaking of which, you had the Royal Rumble in your backyard this past weekend.
I did. We did. I was in St. Augustine, so I didn't know. And I met Hulk Hogan. We met Hulk Hogan, and I didn't even think that that's how I don't follow wrestling that much anymore. I didn't even know it was there. So, but yeah, I guess it was at the Rays. Was it in St.
Yeah,
Pete?
and where the
Yeah, I don't. I guess Roman Reigns has been like a champion for like 5 or 7 years. My daughter followed wrestling for a while. She kind of got out of it. But she's like, yeah. She goes that story's kind of.
It's all. I mean, he won, and he beat Styles and Orton, so he won again. But then what happened was in the Rumble, it came down to Cody Rhodes and CM Punk, and Rhodes ended up winning, and it's going to set up him and Reigns at WrestleMania. And I think Rhodes is going to get rolled again. In my opinion.
Know what I watched? I started watching. It's called Wrestlers, and it's on Netflix. Have you seen that?
No, not
it's
yet.
Ohio Valley Wrestling something. And the guy who runs it is, God dang it, he was a wrestler. You'd know him, and I can't remember his name. I could see him. I see his face.
Era? From what era? From what era?
In, our era, like in the more of the 90s, like or the 2000s, like or the Hogan NWO, like in that kind of time frame. I can't remember the name, but anyway, long story short is they go through and they kind of do the stories. I just watched the first episode, but it's a whole season, so I'm going to try and watch some more of that. But it was interesting, like some of the stuff they go through. There was a guy who was on Big Brother. He was like, called him like Mr. Peck. He was like juiced up or whatever. And he was on Big Brother. He's on there. That's what's talking. And I remember he was like, when he was doing Big Brother, he actually did like some appearances on either TNA or WCW, whatever. Maybe it was WCW then. And he's on there. So it's like that dude's still trying to make a wrestling career. And they were talking about promos and like, all this kind of, it was pretty interesting. It looks like a pretty decent series.
Ultra, we're not talking about that high school and college, that fake stuff. We're talking about professional wrestling here.
Professional wrestling.
Come on. But so again, check it out. I can't really elaborate too much, but check out that Vince McMahon thing because it is weird, really weird.
I'll have to look at it, but we're going down a rabbit hole. I looked at the clock and we're well over an hour, so we kind of got talking. Is there any other thing you got on your mind, Jimmy D?
Yeah, well, I just want to say again, thanks to Cuts by Jones for this masterpiece that arrived today. I love it. I am going to hang it up. I just didn't have time today yet. And man does excellent work and definitely appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. You guys need a custom cut, and it doesn't have to be sports. It could be anything. He did one for my family that was really cool. So definitely check out Cuts by Jones. He does awesome stuff, and hopefully we'll be back to AT&T so we can have a good time. Because I tell people, going to the games, I mean, all the pregame stuff is the best. I mean, that's what I love, and more importantly. We're getting close to 3,000 subscribers. You got a Funko Pop. Tom Landry. We go back to the Super Bowl days. Bob Lilly, who was a guest on our show, we got some signed Funko Pops. We're going to give one away to the 3,000 subscriber. We'll do a giveaway drawing for all the subscribers to get an opportunity to win. And then also Thursday, we mentioned before, we got two-time Super Bowl champion James Washington. Probably should have been the Super Bowl MVP in Super Bowl 2028. He was really pivotal in the turnovers that kind of changed the game. But obviously, Emmitt Smith came out in the second half. He did his thing. So, I mean, I'm not going to kill him for it. But James Washington was very underrated in that. So, and he played big in Super Bowl 27. Again, an interception or a fumble recovery there. I can't remember. He was saying he was all pissed off because we ended up getting like 9 turnovers. So his turnover was like, so what? It's just
right.
1 of 9. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. So anyway, it was it was pretty cool. So we're going to be doing some giveaways there and have a great show on Thursday. Obviously, if you guys are new to the channel, hit that like, subscribe, share. We drop videos. I do a lot of like morning videos where just kind of some thoughts and what's going on in Cowboys world or just my thoughts of the day. Not like Jerry Springer type, but we kind of do that. Video. So definitely hit that alert and we go live. Maybe Jimmy, when he's drunk one night, might jump on. Kelly did it.
Hey, Kelly did it. I got news for you. I was waiting for the Saturday before. It sounded like Kelly might have been a little busy with other things, but we almost did. And then actually, I was on with Cuts Friday night, rapping back and forth on the phone. So I don't know. You never know. It might just happen. You guys might just catch me slurring my words one weekend night on a Friday.
Yeah. So definitely check it out. And we love it, man. We appreciate it. And again, these shows, as we get in the off season, a lot of what Jimmy and I do, man, we're going to talk some sports. We're going to get it. But you saw, we got we got a little sidetracked
Yeah.
with the Jeffersons and San Francisco. I mean, we just want to mix it up with you guys. I would love to get to the point where you guys would call in and let's take some calls or let's join the videos. This is interactive. I mean, we do this stuff because we just love hanging out with you guys and just building an audience and just having some good times. We're not, I mean, neither one of us proclaim to be scouts. We're not draft gurus. We're not breaking down film, and we're a couple sports fans, love our teams, passionate about it. We know a lot about our teams in the sport, but we just want to mix it up with you guys. So we appreciate everyone who supports the channel. Make sure you spread the word, spread the love, let everyone know. We enjoy it, and thank you everyone for popping in. And Jimmy D, you have any final thoughts?
No, and you know what? I agree with Mike. You guys make it fun for us, throwing things, whether you're goofing on us or whatever, it's a good time. And Mike and I, we've known each other it's been a long since the 90s. I mean,
yeah,
I won the Cowboys before Jimmy Johnson.
Before the Cowboys won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. So, so we just have a good time with this. And we appreciate you coming out and having fun with us on Mondays and Wednesdays. And make sure you tune in for the James Washington interview Thursday. I'm sure it's going to be great.
Don't miss that. And when I have a bad day at work, this is you guys are the therapy. So I do appreciate it. So you guys take care. We'll leave it with this. I'm working on the intros and outros. So give me a little break. We'll get this thing tightened up. But appreciate it. You guys have a great week. Hope to see you soon.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need